Hello! I just got a package in the mail, minus all the black scribbled lines on here, so let's open it and see what's inside. Oh, I need new scissors, these ones are getting super blunt, or I need to sharpen them, one of the two. Here we go, finally! The company Grabie sent me an email asking if I wanted to try out one of their art supply products, and who am I to say no to free stuff? So I gratefully accepted, and thank you so much to Grabie for sending this to me. I really hope Grabie is how you pronounce your name, because I've also heard it pronounced Grabie and Grabie, but I'm saying Grabie. Anyway, let's get it open and see what's inside. I'm so excited. I'm not sponsored. This was just sent for me to review in a video. And here we have a card that says, "Nice to meet you," and it says "Colour to win $50," and there's a little colouring on the back. Very nice. I'll have to definitely colour that in and post it on their Instagram page. So I'll link their website and all of their social medias down below. Here is the product that I chose, and I'll open it out of this plastic sheath that it's in. They had quite a lot of things to choose from: watercolors, paint markers, and even colored pencils, but I decided to go for a set of metallic paints because I don't really have very many in my collection. And this comes in a pretty pink metal tin. So if I open it up, is it on a hinge? Yes, it is on a hinge. Ooh! Voiceover Becky again. I kept calling them shimmer paints, but they're actually metallic paints. And aren't they pretty? They shine so beautifully in the light. I just loved the look of these when I opened them. And it also comes, as a lot of these tins seem to do nowadays, with an eraser, a pencil, a tiny little brush, a water brush, and a sponge as well. I do quite like that they come with a few things, although this one does not have a sharpener, so I'll have to use my own pencil sharpener for that. Oh yeah! So I guess I'll swatch these out and see what they look like. I have a feeling I'm going to need some black paper today too, because shiny paints always look amazing on black. So I have painstakingly ruled off a chart with half black and half white so that we can see what they look like on both. This is just black Copic marker pen, which I coloured in the squares. I do quite like ruling lines though, so this was a relaxing task. I am going to use a slightly bigger brush to swatch them because both of these ones are tiny. That is super fine. I'd say that's a 00 brush, and also the water brush, which I have filled, has got quite a fine tip as well, so I think I'll save those for a bit later, but for swatching purposes I'm just going to use a larger brush. Now I'm just actually quite curious to see how these re-wet just from completely dry, so I'm just going to do a quick test on a couple of them. I don't think they're going to re-wet very well. Yeah, it's the usual case with metallic paints. Because they have mica in them, they just need a bit of time to sit with some water on them, so you can see there that that's barely lifting at all. So what I'll do to prepare these, I've just got a little pipette here and I'm just going to fill it with some fresh water from my bowl, which is sitting just off camera there, and I'm going to drip a little bit of water onto each one so that it can sit there and soak in, and then we can pick that paint up once it's been there for a little while. It's very warm and dry in Melbourne at the moment, so I might have to do this a couple of times. I'm actually putting quite a generous amount on. You can use a mister bottle as well, a spray, but I find it just tends to go everywhere and make a huge mess. Using a pipette like this just controls the water drippage, I find much easier. And then you don't get water spray all over the outside of the paint tin. Just looking at them on the surface, some of them look quite similar to each other. These two look similar, as do these ones. So it's hard to tell if they're going to be the same or if they will end up looking different on the paper. We'll find out soon enough. So I'll just let those sit and we will get swatching. See, after it's sat a while now, you can see it's starting to move a bit better, and I'm actually getting paint onto the brush. So right off the bat, this first blue is so lovely. It worked well on both the white and the black squares. As with other metallics I've tried, you can water them down so they're quite translucent and layer them on top of other things, or if you work the paint for a while you can make it a lot more opaque. And I found some colours like the first blue were pretty opaque, but this third greenish colour was a lot more translucent, so it just depended on the different paint as to how thick it got really. I love that purple, it is so pretty. And the next one here looked blue in the palette but painted purple on the white part of the paper, but then when I went over onto the dark part it goes blue, so it's actually a duochrome, and I really love that one. I think it's so neat. And then the next one here was a lovely light pink colour. And so I found with this set that some paints were better on the white, others looked better on the black, and some of them just went completely different depending on what the background colour was. So it's an interesting set overall, and some of the colours in here are really stunning. I love the golds. There is another gold a bit further down which I will come to, that is my favourite I think in the set. Overall, I was quite impressed with these paints. I've used other metallics in the past where when you layer them onto black, the colour will disappear and you'll just be left with silver. But this Grabie set was actually pretty good on the black, and a lot of the colours held up that you could actually see the colour, especially that yellow and the purple, the blue, this green did very well. And some of the other colours did go fairly pale, so I was getting ice blues and ice greens on some of them. Still subtle colour, but more of the silvery mica showing through. And I'll show you at the end when I flash it in the lights, which makes it easier to see how they reflect, and also that colour shows through a bit better. I loved that pink that I just painted out. I think I used that the most in this entire set for some of my paintings, which I'll do in a little while. I did notice that quite a lot of the colours seem to be a bit out of order, but I realised a bit later in the video that you can actually take the half pans out and move them around. I did not see that for ages. That's a really pretty pink colour too. And another one which I think was a duochrome, because the white part you can barely see it, but when it goes onto black it's this really vibrant pink. So that one's a really neat one. I love this blue that I'm painting out now as well. And I'll talk a bit more about these in a bit, but I just thought I would mention that on Grabie's website these are currently priced at around $40 US, which I don't think is that cheap. It's certainly not when converted to Australian currency, but I was looking at their page and it seems that they only have currencies in US dollars, British pounds and the euro, I think. There's no Australian dollars on there, so maybe if Grabie watches this, Australian currency would be really great to add to your site, because we Aussies like to buy all these lovely products too. But you don't have to pay full price because they gave me a 15% off discount code, and I will put that in the description below. So if you put that in to the shopping cart, you will receive a 15% discount. And I think they do other discounts during the year as well, so do keep an eye on their website. I know that Miranda from Alkali Creek Art just recently tested out their paint marker pens and they looked really good. So it seems like their products are pretty good quality, at least from what I'm seeing so far, from my own experience with these metallic watercolors and also seeing other people's videos showing some of the different products. I'm not sure that you could consider them as professional quality, but they're certainly of a good quality for the general artist market. Oh, that's such a pretty red. It does dry a little bit more orange than what we're seeing here, but I do like that colour very much. I always have to go for the red ones. So here is the entire lot, and that is my favourite gold right there. Here we are, mostly dry and very, very shiny. So I was right that some of them look quite close to each other. In fact, they look almost identical, these two and these two, as I suspected, but there are a few standouts in here. I really like that darker blue, the green, the purple and that duochrome. This green's quite a standout, as is that pink, and I think this is the goldest gold of all of them in the set. Just looking at them, that's quite a strong colour too. Quite a lot of these you can actually still see the colour. I mean, black marker pen is not ideal for watercolor to sit on, so I am going to paint on proper black watercolor paper, but I just wanted to use this cheaper paper for my swatching test, and I think it is now time to actually put these into action and do some paintings with them. I did pick up a pad of Stonehenge black paper. I got this off Amazon. I think it was on sale and it was the last one, so I just ordered it, and I've used the Stonehenge just in a tiny pad of paper. I have this sample pack of paper and it's really nice quality, so I figured I might get a larger one. This is an 8x10 and I will do something on this, but I think I have a couple of other things I might want to do first. Well, one other thing at least. I wasn't too sure where to start with this watercolor set, so I figured I might as well try them out on that postcard they sent me, and this also gives a test of metallics on white paper. So the postcard itself is quite smooth and not really designed for watercolors, but it held up okay with the metallics, and you can see them shining in the studio lights there. So the color scheme I chose is not the greatest. I was just really testing them out on here to see what they'd look like, but after a while I did decide to turn this into an actual artwork and started to color it in a bit more properly. I really love this pink. This, I think, ended up being my absolute favourite in the entire set. It's just such a lovely rosy colour, and it works well both on the white here and in the black painting that I will be doing a bit later. So on their Instagram page, Grabie have an ongoing colouring competition where you can colour this particular design in and submit it. Every Wednesday they pick a winner and you can win a $50 voucher to spend on their website, so that's pretty sweet. If you purchase anything from Grabie, they will actually send you this postcard to fill out, and the design is also downloadable. So I decided not to colour the whole thing with metallics. You'll see what I did in just a moment. Right here, I used some other regular water-based pens on the background so that my metallic accents will really show through rather than everything being metallic. And here we go, I'm finally doing a proper artwork on my black watercolour paper. I used Grabie's HB pencil to draw this out, and I decided to go for a bouquet of flowers. I'd been looking around online and seen a few metallic paintings with flowers and they looked really pretty, so I thought I'd come up with my own. I'm using maybe 2 or 3 reference photos to pull a few different flower designs, but otherwise I just made this up. And the pencil worked perfectly well. You can really see the graphite on the black paper, which is great because it's reflecting against my studio lights. And I didn't use the eraser very much, but that seems to work perfectly fine, although it is a little bit firmer than other erasers I have used. I used both the water brush and the tiny little brush for this painting. That tiny brush is actually really excellent for getting thin lines, and it also works well for lettering. The water brush was just a bit more useful for filling up the larger areas, and I mostly used it for this painting. I love that pink so much, it was perfect for the ribbon. And then I just chose a selection of different colours and went to town on this. I had so much fun with this painting, and I really love how it turned out on the black paper. So here are the two artworks that I got out of this set. I had fun with them, they were really neat, and you can see how shiny the lettering is on this one. It's quite good to use it against just regular pens, because then you get some areas that are just so highlighted in those metallics. And this one is entirely with the metallics. They look amazing on black paper. I'm glad that there's quite a lot of colour coming through in just about all of them. The only one that is maybe a little lacking is this green colour. It's kind of milky and it hasn't gone quite as metallic as some of the others, but that gold, the red, the blue, the purple, they're all excellent, and that pink is definitely my favourite in the whole set. So now that I've used these, I'm thinking that the spray bottle of water to mist it is probably better than dripping water on, because as you can see, especially in that black one, it has cracked it, and that is caused by the water drops. Can you see them? So maybe don't do that. Oh dear. It hasn't happened on all of them, but a few of them have just noticeably shown where those water drops have landed. Oh well, I'll still use them up, they'll be fine. And I have discovered one more thing right now, which I forgot to look at earlier. These little half pens do come out, so I could rearrange all of these to make the set look a little more cohesive. For example, I would probably put those three golds together and that purple sort of sitting in a funny place, so I could easily move these around. I like that they're in little half pens that come out, so you can add other half pens in there if you wanted to. That's really handy as well. Another little neat feature. That tiny brush is actually surprisingly good and excellent for doing lettering. The water brush is fine, and the pencil and the eraser. I did not use the sponge. The sponges are usually okay, but for this I didn't really need to mix anything. If you were wanting to dab the water brush off on it, that's what that is for, but I just tend to dip the water brush in a pot of water. That's how I usually work with it. So overall, I really like this set. You get pretty good value, there's plenty of colours. Most of them look pretty decent on white and black. There are a few colours that are quite similar to each other, that's the only thing. They're not all completely different. But overall, it's still a pretty good set, and there's a lot of paint in there. I think the quality of them is pretty nice. I'm not seeing any chalkiness or anything, especially on this one, which is straight paint on the black watercolour paper. So I think they're just a bit of fun. They're a nice way to add perhaps a little bit of a metallic sheen to an artwork or a little card like this. They would be fun for making cards, and if you like painting on black paper, they are excellent for that. Thank you so much for watching today. Thank you to Grabie for sending me these products. They were really fun, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've seen these out there, then hopefully this helps you decide whether you might want these for your collection. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and click that subscribe button, and I will see you all again really soon in my next video. Swatch you later. Bye!